Chancellor, Archbishop, Ivan and Christine Head and your family, Steve and Emma McMillan and your family, Chair of College Council Mark Elliott, and current and past Fellows of the College, so many other distinguished guests, including many contributors to this project, the Glendenbrook trustees, university colleagues and colleagues from other colleges, many students and alumni of St Paul's. Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, what an exciting delight it is this afternoon to welcome you to St Paul's College and to this official opening by the Chancellor and dedication by the Archbishop of the Ivan Head building, with over 100 undergraduate rooms, tutorial rooms and other facilities, and the McMillan building, which houses our new graduate house, our new community of women and men postgraduate students and academics. Thank you for being part of this celebration of these two new buildings and of all that they contribute to our ability to offer all-round collegiate education to undergraduates and to graduate students here at St Paul's College within the University of Sydney. The Vice-Chancellor, Dr Michael Spence AC, deeply regrets that because of illness in his family, he is at the last minute not able to be here today, as he had intended, and he sends his best wishes to us all. Today is a day for gratitude, a day for giving thanks to everyone who has contributed in any way to this truly world-class development. It's not possible for me to name today everyone who has contributed, but to all who have, please know how grateful we are and how proud we are of what you have achieved and of what you have made possible for students now and for generations to come. The fact that these buildings are here, above all to enrich the all-round education of students, is reflected today in the presence in the official party of the elected undergraduate senior student, Max Glanville, and the very first student to enrol in and to come into Graduate House, Tiffany Kwong. We're very grateful to the Chancellor, Ms Belinda Hutchinson AM, for her warm support and for being here to officially open these buildings, and to the Archbishop, the Most Reverend Dr Glenn Davies, for dedicating these buildings. It must feel like déjà vu, as they say, déjà vu all over again, for the Chancellor and for the Archbishop, as in May 2017 they were here for the dedication and unveiling of the foundation stones of these two then unnamed and unbuilt buildings. These foundation stones are now to be found on the eastern walls of each of these buildings. Just over 7 years ago, in December 2011, when I was Warden of Rhodes House, Oxford, I was visited at Rhodes House by my friend of many years, Ivan Head, and a small group of others who were travelling the world on behalf of the college to seek the best ideas and inspiration for provision for graduate and undergraduate students. In that party was the incomparable Steve McMillan. Who could then have imagined that these several years on we would be reunited here at this opening of these buildings that bear their names? I tell of that meeting in Oxford, one of very many they had as they visited a large number of world-leading universities and colleges, to illustrate how much careful thought and planning went into this project, how the standard set was truly to be amongst the world's best, and above all, to reflect how much these buildings owe to Ivan, during whose wardenship they were conceived, planned and commenced, and to Steve, of whom it may truly be said that without him these buildings would and could never have been built. Ivan, Steve and all who have worked with them have achieved what they set out to achieve, buildings for collegiate life which are as good as any that can be found anywhere on earth. Ivan, of course, was the much-loved warden of this college from 1994 to 2017. He was educated at Applecross State High School in Perth and then at the University of Western Australia, the Melbourne College of Divinity and the University of Melbourne, where he was a member of Trinity College, and at Glasgow University, where he secured his doctorate with a thesis entitled, "How Miraculous Can We Consider Jesus to Have Been?" An Anglican priest since 1978, theologian, philosopher, and poet of distinction, Ivan was director of the Anglican Institute of Theology in Western Australia before becoming Warden of Christ College in Tasmania for 4 years, from where he came to be Warden of St Paul's, supported throughout by Christine, to whom we are also deeply grateful. Can you hear me? Well, I was talking about Ivan's thesis about miracles. I think we've just witnessed another one. Now, I'm not going to talk about Ivan being canonised or anything like that. I was making the point that he was supported throughout by Christine, to whom we are also deeply grateful, as we are to the entire Head family. It would be impossible in a short time to express all that Ivan achieved with such grace and good humour during his 23 years as Warden, for the benefit of so many students to whom he was so devoted. Devotion repaid with enduring gratitude and affection. But I do want to make one point particularly relevant to today. These are not the only buildings we owe to Ivan's time as Warden. This year we mark the 20th anniversary of the completion of the Albert Wing, which superbly completed the old quadrangle of the college, and in which Ivan had his office for so many years. The Albert Wing was opened by the then Chancellor of the University and dedicated by the then Archbishop in September 1999. I am delighted that Robert and Libby Albert are here today. We remain profoundly grateful to them and to other members of their family for their unstinting support for the college. Steve McMillan came to St Paul's College in 1974 from Wauchope High School and was a resident member of this college from 1974 to 1979, serving as senior student in 1977. Steve is a graduate 3 times over of this university in science, architecture with honours and economics, and a graduate in 1983 of Stanford University. For 17 years, Steve held senior executive roles within Lend-Lease, including CEO of Lend-Lease Property Group Australia and CEO of Lend-Lease Asia. In 2001, Steve formed the Sitter Property Group, a specialist real estate development company of which he is the managing director. Throughout his career, Steve has been responsible for development projects that have helped to shape the cities they were built in, from Sydney Olympic Village to Parkville Gardens and Living Carlton in Melbourne, to Parliament Square in Hobart, and so much more besides. From 2006 to 2012, Steve served on the council of the college, and over the last many years has given tirelessly of himself and of his wonderful staff to bring this project into being. Steve is a model of a member of this college who, grateful for the opportunities it created for him, is determined to do all he can to hand them on even better to the generations who come after. His great vision, combined with attention to detail, his commitment to this college and to collegiate education, his understanding of the importance of the college's partnership with the university, his passion, energy and drive, his experience and expertise, and his personal generosity have been utterly remarkable. I hope that Steve's family, his wife Emma and their children, know how grateful we are to them for sharing your husband and father with us throughout all of this. and I hope you know that we all share real pride in Steve's extraordinary accomplishments. Now, both Ivan and Steve are very humble people, and they're both quick to point out that projects of this kind are necessarily team efforts. And of course, that is true. Cox Architects, led by Philip Cox and John Richardson, who is an alumnus of the college and is here today, have designed these buildings superbly. We are most grateful to them and to Hector Abrahams, our heritage architect, and his team. In creating modern facilities in beautiful buildings, the architects have complemented the original and other existing buildings of the college. The photographs in the middle of the program booklet, which I hope you have, reflect this. From the gables that echo the 1850s gables in the old quadrangle of the college and in the main university quadrangle, to the ceiling of the graduate house refectory in here that echoes the ceiling of the college chapel. Now, if the master planning of the University of Sydney campus is your special subject, and I'm sure it is for some people here today, you will immediately have recognised, without my needing to mention it, that the design of these buildings and this quadrangle respects and preserves the so-called Wilkinson axis, the north-south line of alignment and long vista set out in the university's master plan of the 1920s by Professor Leslie Wilkinson. The line, the vista, which runs from the home building in the north across the valley and through the middle of Wilkinson's physics building, and then through the middle of the original college quadrangle into the vestibule at the centre of the Blackett wing. The Wilkinson axis now runs through this third quadrangle here at St Paul's between our two new buildings. In line with this brilliant design, Buildcorp has built these buildings to an extremely high standard. Many thanks indeed to them and to their workers and to the various contractors. A very warm welcome to Tony, Josephine and Jordan Sukar from Buildcorp, who are here today representing the whole Buildcorp team. Steve's team at Sitter, who have managed this project, have been an utter delight. It's invidious to name individuals, which is what you always say when you're about to do it. But simply from my own experience over the last year, I do want especially to thank Nina Bainey, Claire Cagney, Alan Frost, Natalie Lane Rose and Will Morris. The ANZ Bank have been and are important, indeed crucial, partners in this project. We're very grateful to them, and I especially today want to thank Megan Lee, who is representing ANZ at this opening ceremony. Many thanks also to Michael Taylor and to TSA Management, to Cootes Cost Consulting, to lawyers Cause Chambers Westgarth, and to the City of Sydney. This has truly been a team effort. This project has been undertaken very much in the spirit of partnership between the college and the university. Partnership again reflected today in the Chancellor opening these buildings. As I pointed out in the program booklet, St Paul's has been by law, and I quote, a college of and within the University of Sydney, since those words were enacted in the St Paul's College Act of 1854. And the college remains that in the words of the St Paul's College Act of 2018, which came into effect just under a month ago. That living reality is reflected not least in the fact that in the lower ground floors of these two buildings, beneath this quadrangle, in the St Paul's colonnade, are over 2,000 square metres of space, which the college has leased to the university, and in which university teaching, mainly but not only in physics and in the health sciences, commenced last Monday. These teaching spaces beneath the Ivanhead building, this third quadrangle and graduate house, the McMillan building, are beautifully fitted out and equipped and are clearly a great asset to the university. The St Paul's Colonnade is well worth a visit when, as I hope, you tour the new buildings after the conclusion of this ceremony. I look forward to the day when the college, in close partnership with the university, can build the third building in this project, the academic house, that will extend our buildings and extend the St Paul's Colonnade through to Fisher Road. In this partnership between the university and the college, which has led already to these two new buildings, the Vice-Chancellor has played a crucial role, and we are deeply grateful to him, as we are to so many of his colleagues, amongst whom I will again invidiously single out Greg Robinson and Sharon Rose, among dozens of university staff who contributed to this project. Over the years in which this project has been conceived and come into being, successive chairs and other members of the College Council and members of the college staff, led by Ivan, have been hard at work in their indispensable roles. I want today to acknowledge in particular the contributions of two members of council who will retire from council at the end of this month after very many years of dedicated service, Lloyd Waddy and Bishop Richard Herford. But I'm sure that everyone involved as council members or as staff would all agree that no one has contributed more than Jeff Lovell. Having already served for many years on College Council, Jeff served as chair of the council from 2011 to 2013 as this project was being conceived and agreed. To implement the college's historic expansion plans, he came onto the staff of the college as Vice Warden in 2016 for a 3-year term through until January this year. Over the last 3 years, Jeff has guided this project in all its aspects with great skill and dedication, and with his trademark clarity of mind and integrity of character. And we could not be more grateful. That at the same time he did so much else for the college is even more remarkable and even more cause for profound thanks. One of Jeff's roles is as chair of the College Foundation, and the College Foundation has been among the most generous of the benefactors and other donors to this project, which are listed with deep gratitude in the program booklet for today. Thank you to everyone who has contributed. As you will see when you tour the new buildings, a number of spaces are named in grateful recognition of various benefactors, many of whom I am pleased, indeed very pleased, are here today. The Tag Family Gymnasium, already much used and greatly appreciated by our students, is in the basement on the southern end of the Ivanhead building. Next to it and beneath the southern end of this quadrangle, and awaiting fitting out when we've raised the $2 million that is needed, is a very large space reserved for a study centre and library. On the ground floor of the Ivanhead building at the southern end is the Travers Room, a meeting room named for Jeff Travers and other members of the Travers family named in the program booklet. On the ground floor of the McMillan building, adjacent to the refectory and adjacent to this quadrangle, is the Blattman Room, named in appreciation of Dr. Andrew Blattman. On the far side of the ground floor is the Macready Room, a private dining room named in loving memory of Dr. Mick Macready, senior student of the college in 1954. And when you go up by lift or stairs to the top level of the McMillan building, 5 levels up, you will enter the Lee Common Room, named for Dr. Richard Lee. Watch out in or near these various named rooms for plaques and simple archival displays related to the donors whose names these spaces bear. The Lee Common Room leads out to the rooftop terrace with its wonderful views and great ambience, already in very frequent use by members of our graduate house community, as well as, from time to time, our undergraduate students. Refreshments will be served after this ceremony on the rooftop terrace and in the Lee Common Room, as well as in the refectory just here. As you tour the buildings, you'll see that there are a number of spaces listed on the inside back cover of the program booklet, which remain as naming opportunities as we continue to seek support for this project and for completion of this phase of the development of the college through fitting out the study centre and library below this quadrangle and the construction of a performance space, the as yet unnamed hexagon, on this hexagonal plinth on which the official party are sitting this afternoon and from which our choristers and musicians have performed and will perform. I hope that you will see what magnificent facilities these buildings provide for external as well as college activities, including, especially out of semester, for high quality accommodation. Our events and stays team will gladly help you with any information you might like. Amongst everything else that takes place within it, the life of a college should be enriched by the performing and visual arts. This is reflected today not least in the fanfare "By Wisdom a House is Built," composed for this occasion by David Drury and performed by the college choir and brass. This will be performed after the Chancellor unveils the plaques for the two buildings. The arts are also, of course, wonderfully reflected here in the striking sculpture at the southern end of this quadrangle and the very differently striking fresco in the Graduate House refectory in the McMillan building. The celebrated Japanese-Australian artist Ayako Saito has created the sculpture Heaven's Door, which in a sense frames this quadrangle. It's the second of her works in the college, the other being in Chapel Quad. Heaven's Door was commissioned and donated by college alumnus Andrew Bell, SC, whom it was a pleasure to see sworn in as President of the New South Wales Court of Appeal on Thursday morning. We are most grateful both to Ayako and to Andrew. Thank you very much indeed. The distinguished Australian artist Gary Shedd has, with Mark Stanford, created in situ the fresco in the Graduate House refectory. Enjoying its beauty and debating its meanings will, I am sure, stimulate many conversations in the Graduate House community and beyond. Indeed, given the positive energy of the very talented members of the Graduate House community who have already brought this building alive under the leadership of the Dean, Dr. Antone Martinho-Trustwell, and Emma Martinho-Trustwell, I am sure that the fresco has already stimulated much discussion. Many thanks to Gary and to Mark for it. As I said at the outset, we are grateful also to the Chancellor of the University, Ms. Belinda Hutchinson AM, for her support for the college in various ways and for her presence here today. A highly respected company director of wide experience, Belinda Hutchinson has been Chancellor of the University since 2013. It has been an immense pleasure to work with her over the last year, and it is now my particular privilege to call on her, first to speak and then to open officially and unveil the plaques for the Ivanhead building and then the McMillan building. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chancellor of the University of Sydney.